everybody, welcome back to my channel. It is Christy here to do the June 2018 general monthly forecast. This is for Aries Sun, Aries Moon, and Aries Rising signs. I hope that you enjoyed your May extended monthly forecast and it was helpful and healing for you. So this week we're going to be playing with a new spread. I really do try to push myself to learn new things in the divination environment. So we're going to do something a little bit unusual today. It's an 8-card spread. We're going to be doing a secrets revealed spread this month for you. So any secrets that you feel you have about yourself, a partner, a plan of action, a concept or idea, however you want to apply this information is how it is generated for you. So wherever you feel or think that there is a secret involved, even if it's your own or you're trying to develop certain parts of yourself, this is what it's going to be in relation to. So again, we're looking at secrets revealed. And there are 2 columns. The top column is what is on the surface, and then the bottom column, which is what is underneath. So it's basically things that you may not be aware of, or that you could use to your advantage that you're not aware of, or that could be working for you. So let me just zone in here on your cards. Let's get some general information for you. This is a general reading for your sign. So do check out your moon and rising signs if you want additional information for the month. So what does Aries need to know for the month of June 2018? Aries, June 2018. Aries 2018. Here we go. All right, so we won't get too much into the bottom of the deck energy, but I do like looking at this just because it is the purpose of the bottom of the deck card for general energy around this reading is basically how you can expect this to work out, or in what energy this is meant to be supplied to you. And the 6 of Fire is the 6 of Wands, and this is really about a victory. So you should feel victorious at the end of the month if you put plans into action here, or if you go ahead with your truest and highest calling here. 6 of Wands is a victorious energy, and it follows a little bit of discord. So if you feel that there's any type of discord, and I mean even within relationships or with, internally, just rest assured here that you will come out on top. You just need to settle some things for yourself. So let's get started in the top row. This is what is on the surface. So this is something that is probably already obvious to you, or obvious to the people around you, or you hear this all the time. So again, this is regarding any pressing issue or concern, thought process, relationship, ideology, whatever is most important to you at the time that you hear this. And this is what it's going to be applying to. It could be about relationships or the one you have with yourself, or anything in between. So it is a general reading. So on the surface, we have Judgment. Next to it, we have the Messenger of Air. Next to that is the 10 of Water, and then the Star card. So already we're looking at some really furiously thoughtful and engaging energy here. So Judgment is really just saying that you have to make a decision, or a decision is being made for you, or you really have to choose something here. Another theme with Judgment is that something could feel like it's out of your hands, like you're being judged, or you could be in a position to be judging others in a political, or even, in an environment where you're actually the judge of someone's character, the judge of someone's commitment or loyalty. So there could be an issue around judgment here. Another theme around this is that there is another chance. There's another opportunity for you here. Even if the original judgment, for example, or the original action, behavior, thought, outcome, etc., that you're looking at this with didn't turn out the way you wanted to, you have another opportunity here. That's what this is saying. I'm just going to move these a tiny bit more because I'm going to bump this off the table here. With the messenger of air, so these are going to act in unison together. These are really just telling a story about what you're probably already aware of, or which is on the surface. So it's stuff that you're like, oh yeah, no, I get this. The messenger of air is someone who could bring a cutting message, something that is probably very exacting, probably true and accurate, but not overly emotional. It could just be something that you have to get your head around, get your mind around. It could be you are the person who is the messenger here. When we're looking at swords, we're looking at cutting through nonsense, cutting through pretense, okay? A lot of people find this to be combative energy. Some people find it to be prickly, like prickly energy. But on the other hand, I tend to think it is just forward, exacting energy. So I think depending on who the listener is or who the receiver is of this message, they could say, for example, you know, that was cold or that was blunt, that type of thing, but it doesn't make it untrue. And it actually says more about the listener than it does about how you've gone about expressing something here. So the truth really is key here. The messenger is the knight, so it is a court card. So this very well could be an individual in your environment who is a Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius. So this could be their energy in your environment. Again, something you're already aware of here, but someone that you have a pretty blunt relationship with, or someone who's being really blunt with you, and it's not entirely upsetting because you get it and you're not taking this negatively. And I know this because we have the Ten of Cups following it. And the Ten of Cups, as you can see here in the chubby Buddha, is really just emotional delight. It's the accumulation of all the phases and steps that it takes to be emotionally well and emotionally stable. And having everything you want and desire, especially with regard to the heart, with regard to romance, with regard to creativity, sincerely with regard to just being at peace with yourself. I mean, you know, like this guy doesn't answer to anybody, right? But he also doesn't run over anybody. Like he's not stealing from anybody. He doesn't take from anybody in order to feel full. It just is. And people are likely to give their hearts or their emotions easily to you, for example. And that's an easy exchange for you. You can give that back. We're also looking at 10, so there could be the end of a phase here, or there could be something that like a new cycle might be beginning here. It could be that you've learned a lot about yourself here, and this is going to come to your aid as you move forward with whatever is going on down here. So pay attention, especially if this does resonate with you. Pay attention to how you may have gotten to this point where you're emotionally healthy, emotionally stable, just, you know, appropriate sensuality, for example. It's not squandered, it's not misused, it's just, this is delightful for all parties, for example. And then with the star, so we do have an 8 here. We do have our second out of 4 major arcana cards. The first one being 20. This really does, anytime we're looking at 2s, we're looking at relationships necessarily. It doesn't have to be between you and another person. It can be the relationship you have with yourself. I always say that. But Aries, only you know if this is going on internally or externally to you. So you can decide that. Here we have the star. We have an 8. This is really the infinity number. This is about things on repeat. This is about developing who it is you really are. The 8 also represents in numerology success and financial abundance as well. So I'm just throwing those themes out there. I do want to add that the star is ruled by the sign Aquarius. So you could very well have an Aquarius in your midst, or if you are an Aries with an Aquarius moon or Aquarius rising, this will represent you. Also, Aquarius is ruled by the 11th house. So we know that this is the card of wishes and dreams and the fulfillment of desires, okay? So really beautiful setting here for, on the surface. Again, if it's something that you had looked past or weren't paying attention to, and it's sort of all making sense when I say this out loud for you, just, it might be a nice time to feel really grateful for this type of energy right now. This is just explosively beautiful, generous energy for you. It's all about truth and wellness, second chances, wishes and dream fulfillment here. So, you could feel very sparkling this month, Aries. I'm going to get down to the underneath or the hidden realms here in the second column, and then we'll just go briefly up and down before getting a card from the oracle decks here. So this is the row of the hidden. This is what's going on underneath the scene, beneath what can be seen and maybe even felt right now. Maybe you're just trying to wrap your head and heart around, how good things really are for you right now. And you weren't aware of that. But I'm going to suggest you were pretty aware of what was going on here. Let's look at the underneath, the undercurrent. You could even, you can consider this row the sun and this row the moon. Like, what's going on? This is something everyone can see. This is noticeable. This is obvious. And then this is more hidden. This is mysterious. This is the emotional world here. So we do start out with the 7 of Wands. 7 of Wands is really saying that you are in a little bit of a position to protect yourself, but you're at an advantage. So, don't read into it. Don't look too hard into it. We do have the 10 of fire following this, so right under the 10 of water. So definitely cycles are ending here. You do know how to do this, so you can repeat this, okay? This is something you can do over. This is something you can start out. When we start out with the suit here, we start out with the ace. So you know how this works. So this is beautiful energy to bring in to the end of something that was very, very difficult for you. You can start over. So you can bring old lessons. It's really good to let go. You don't want to look to the future through a rear view mirror, but it's really good to understand what it took from you and what you were willing to give and what you were willing to do, etc., in order to move past something, and those are the benefits here. So really just going from the 7 to the 10 is saying you're in a really good position to protect yourself and to stand up for yourself right now, and ultimately that just means that you know what you want. So half the battle is in knowing exactly what you want. Even if other people give you a hard time about it, even if it's you and this is internal to you, even if, you're not really sure, you can safely take yourself to task over this. You can remember you're at an advantage. I also want to point out here that we have a mythical beast being the unicorn as well. So it could be something that you feel is an uphill battle, but that, the 9 and the 10 of fire, for example, talk about a load that you have willingly chosen for yourself. So I don't think it's going to be something that you feel that was imposed upon you. I think you feel, you're able to do this because you took it upon yourself, very possibly as a second chance in pursuit of emotional wellness here and, dreams and goals. So you are in an advantage. Don't read too much into, any, self-protection here. Just, stay on track, stay on course, and Other people will go to the wayside. Whatever you're doing or thinking or being right now is really not up for debate. And you don't have to please other people right now anyway. Just by virtue of being yourself is the best path to take this month. The following card under the messenger of air here is justice. Here we have our second 2, like the judgment card is 2. We are looking at partnerships. That could be business, of course, but you know, very likely love. Again, it could be about ideologies, belief systems, points of view, knowledge base, education, communication. So anything that has to do with this, the most obvious point of interest for the Justice card is, you know, quite obviously the legal aspect here. Here we do have our other sword. Remember, the messenger of air is the sword. The air is the sword, and this is appearing here, right? So, I mean, this could just be something that you balance yourself with. You can steady yourself with the truth here. So this is quite beautiful. You can rely on that. And then, of course, she's got the scales of justice here. One is going to tip in your favor. The one next to her is lower, which means it's weightier. So something is going to tip in your favor here between you and at least one other person, very probably having to do with a relationship. So this could very well be occurring in court or within a legal or justice community. If it's not an actual physical legal environment, justice just really talks about, you know, the balance. Things are going to balance themselves out. So here again with, you know, trying to protect yourself or defend yourself here, just remember, stick to the truth, stick to the facts. Because the rest is going to work itself out. If you're defending yourself, again, you're in an advantageous position. You don't have to work too hard at this. You literally just need to tell the truth, and justice will be served here. Here's where we're looking at our second 10. As I mentioned, just above it, we have the 10 of water, which is, you know, emotional fulfillment, feeling so good and so great and so blessed that you can share it, you know, and it doesn't feel like anything's being taken from you. The 10 of fire, as I mentioned, we have the, it is wands. The suit is the wands. And we go from the 7 to the 10. So there's been quite a jump here. And this is where I'm looking at the end of the cycle. It does follow the justice card. So, I mean, it's curious here that things are coming to a close. This is, if you were to look at the original imagery, for example, on the 10 of Wands, this is, you know, an individual who, again, willingly has placed a load on his or her back and is going to carry it through to the end until they can, you know, climb that mountain and get into that home and lay that burden down, for example. So it may feel somewhat burdensome here, but remember, this is all over soon enough, and things will begin anew. A new cycle will begin here. As I mentioned, it is the second 10. 10s to me represent the individual, okay? Because reduced to itself, it is the number 1. And this is particularly you. So this is something that you possess and something that you have accepted, right? So, you know, if you do feel like burdensome, for example, or you're just like, oh God, when will this end type of thing, you know, give yourself a little bit of credit right now and just remember, you know, one day at a time. One day at a time is really all we have. And I really, truly believe if you've gotten this far, you can really get through this. So give yourself a lot of credit, especially near the end of the month. Here we have, you know, 10, 20, 30. So, you know, whether this is the beginning, the middle, or the end of the month, whatever feels most stressful for you, where it feels like there's a burden and you're almost asking yourself, like, why did I do this to myself? Just remember that, you know, it's going to roll over. It's going to turn over here. And that burden, you can put that burden down. And here was your final outcome card for the bottom row, which is, of course, the underneath, is temptation. So we have our first 6, which I believe to be another partnership number. We are dealing, of course, with the multiples of 3s. 3 is a very sexual number. right? It's also ruled by Gemini. Gemini is a very sexual sign. It's strange, even up until recently, I always believed that because Scorpio ruled sex and death, for example, in the 8th house, and, you know, inheritance and shared finances, you know, that was all about, you know, sex and sexuality. But the 8th house is far richer and deeper than that. It's not just sex. It's all those inclusive, amazing, deep things. You know, 3 here with Gemini, we're just literally dealing with sex. Okay? So with that in mind, if this doesn't have to do with the sexual self, and it doesn't have to do with a partner or the sexual state or procreation or what have you, this could very well have to do with, you know, themes of sensuality or becoming more comfortable with yourself or getting in touch with your sensual self or being called to get in touch with your sensual self here. If it does have to do with partnerships, there could be a lot of exciting energy here between you and another person. It does fall under the stars, so this could very well be an Aquarian that you're sort of hot and heavy for here. Very likely it's mutual, just because we have these overarching energies here together where there is a process whereby you can start over. A new phase is going to be beginning here. So this is truly an interesting spread. I really do like working with new spreads. I hope that you enjoyed that and it was helpful and healing for you. Give it a second watch. If you're looking at this at the beginning of June, for example, and it's not making sense, or you need more information out of it, as I mentioned, always give your moon and rising a little view there, but check it out, you know, mid-month. See if it makes more sense to you, or you can pull something else useful from it. Well then, and that just rolled over in the deck as the others flew out, so I'll take that. Also, temptation doesn't, it's the devil card in the original deck. It doesn't mean that you are being called to do something that isn't appropriate either. It's, you know, it's just an energy. If anything, if I were to say anything, you know, as a caution around the temptation card, I would just caution around obsession. Okay, that's the major theme. I have too many cards there. Just one card, please. Just look out for, look at you, deeply knowing everything. Just a little caution here around obsession, to the point of not being able to function in other areas of your life. You know, that can happen, especially if you're dating someone new or someone new is exciting to you. That just turned around. Let me get that. What else am I going to say about that? That's the biggest caution around that, I would say. And that one flipped around in the deck. Beyond that, just, you know, don't misuse your sexuality. Don't abuse your sexuality. Don't let someone else do it. You know, use it in the highest, to the highest intention. And to the best outcome for all individuals involved. Here are your oracle cards. Aries, we have the owl. So this is deception. It's a little bit of a misnomer. It's just a really high energy card. This is the card of witches and warlocks. It's the card of magic. It's the card of alchemy. It's the card of changing form. Okay, changing complete form. It could be physical, right? It could be mental. It could be because here at the very beginning you have a second chance here and you're able to start something over and give this everything you've got, okay? It's really important that the other person knows what is on your mind and what to expect here as well. We do have another 3, so this could very well be happening within a sensual environment as well. As I mentioned, the temptation here. So a lot of sensual energy. Just make sure you're not abusing this energy. The other person is on board with you, and that there is no theft. There's no theft of time. There's no theft of sexual energy. anything that you consider, you know, just energy in general. You want to give freely and receive freely here. So I think it could just be more of a caution here. Another way to read Owl is to suggest that this isn't your energy, but this is energy that you could be surrounded by, and to really try to peer through individuals in your environment this month who do give you a little bit of an off feeling, okay? Really trust your instincts this month. Really trust that you can see through something that someone would rather you not see through, but be aware as well that someone in your environment this month is going to be just as anything you could be doing that you're trying to keep hidden, for example, will be just as revealed. So I mean, it goes both ways here. So secrets probably not your best idea, the best idea, for example, in moving forward. But on the other hand, there is at least one other person that you can trust here. So you don't have to keep secrets, but you can hold things close to the cuff. Be honest, even if you're protecting yourself here, because the scales will tip in your favor. It's also really, in my view, it is related to the Temptation card. There's a lot of explosive energy here, as I mentioned, witches and warlocks. So you could be far more in tune this month, for example, Aries, with the esoteric. So in terms of numerology, color, fragrance, shapes, forms, symbols, even things like the tarot, or runes, or stones, right? So any type of divination might call you from a perspective of an interest in getting involved in that. But if it's not something you want to participate in, it could just be something that you're just consciously aware of. Here with Guardian Angel, it does look like there could be a little bit of sadness anytime a Guardian Angel card shows up. It's when there's someone who is a little bit sad, someone who's a little bit not feeling completely comforted. So this is in pursuit of comfort right here in this card. So really reach out for comfort from your ancestors or from any person that you can trust, as I mentioned, and they will be happy to help. Guardian Angel doesn't always have to be from the spirit world. It can be, but it doesn't have to be. Whoever you consider your guardian angel. So deep knowing is interesting here. We have the two moons. We have this huge moon behind the star. We have this huge moon behind the justice. The owl is, of course, related to the moon. So ultimately, deep knowing is really looking at, you know exactly what's going on. You trust that you know exactly what's going on, Aries. It's not a month to second guess your instinct. Second guess your instincts. It's just, you can if you want, but it'll be a waste of time because you're on target. So here you have incredibly emotionally intelligent awareness here, to the point of possibly practicing divination yourself. If it isn't your cup of tea, it could be something that you are interested in or taking value from, okay? And here with Express Your Love with the Romance Angels, go ahead and make the romantic gesture. How beautiful is this? So again, if this does have to do with sensuality and romance, I really do think it's a safe setting to do this. I do think that someone is able to give this back to you. I don't think this is one-sided for you, so you can feel confident going ahead and expressing your love to that special someone for June. So that was really cool. I hope that you enjoyed that and got something very useful and healing from it. Thanks again, as always, for joining me. I look forward to meeting you again in a couple of weeks. Until then, take excellent care, Aries. Bye for now.